chairperson of this session, dear brothers and sisters. At the outset, I would like to thank brothers and sisters of Bangalore and KGF for having arranged this function and made us drown in Master's grace. So on behalf of all of you also I thank them. After Raichur function, there were some thoughts coming in my mind. I just scribbled them few, and my feelings and my learning and my hearing. On these three things, I scribbled down few lines, and let me share my thoughts with you people. During all the functions of the mission, a session of clarification or question and answers is exclusively arranged by the organizers, and it has been observed that nobody asks questions regarding the problems or difficulties encountered during the day-to-day sadhana. Earlier, some academic questions were asked by enthusiastic people to exhibit one's knowledge, and later on that also has stopped. What is to be concluded for this type of development? Though all of we people claim to be sincere, regular, and practicing the sadhana with interest, then where is the problem? I think an important point to be thought over is about the clarity about the goal of life. Repeatedly, Puja Bhai Sahib was stressing much that our functions are to be celebrated in silence. Keeping in view of this, what is the problem? Religions preach us the existence of God, no doubt, and it is their duty also to create in the followers of that particular religion a definite and fixed assumption about the attainability of God. Further, it is their primary duty to activate the prevailing dormant struggle, that is unconscious instinctive pull-up of the ultimate in each individual for God realization. In their over-enthusiastic way, if these religious people start telling about the methods of practice, there comes the trouble. It is because nobody following the religious practice has evolved higher excepting the founder saint of that particular religion. Without proper understanding of the principles of the methodology as laid down by the founder, followers do not talk from the higher plane, and so the troubles start and prejudices develop. Because the followers go on propagating about the efficacy fanatically without any practical experience. Instead, the presently so-called people preach prayers for the material and personal benefits from God. This is ridiculous. By chance, after going through the religious practice very sincerely, one's dormant struggle for the realization of God is activated, and when he gets convinced that no further progress is possible in the spirituality by clinging and continuing the practice as per the religious methods, he will be in search of a capable guide. When such a craving person becomes restless, Master then comes to his doors. Or if he finds luckily a master of caliber, he takes up the practice as per the precepts of Sahasmar system. In our system of Sahasmar, one starts getting transmission from the master from the day one itself and starts appreciating the beauty and efficacy of the system. To start with, he has joined the system with an iron will for God realization. And because of Master's transmission power, his internal complexities and solidities start melting away, and as a result, his thinking starts evolving on the higher side, improving his wisdom too. When his vivek, that is power of discrimination, develops he starts giving importance to higher things, and vairagya, that is conditions of renunciation, automatically develops in a natural course. At this stage of his sadhana, his goal of life takes further evolution, and it compels to accept Master as his goal of life in place of God. Master's form often starts appearing in front of him in place of divine light, which he was asked to take at the time of starting of practice. His love and devotion towards Master develops further in giving him a conviction about the attainability of his goal of life, and starts experiencing masterliness of Master slowly, which in fact develops naturally faith in him. At this stage, his struggle will continue with more interest and looks only towards Master alone. According to Master, God or ultimate reality is nothing but the most subtle, original, superactive center of all the existence. The origin of creation is a primary star in that, and as a result, this entire universe is created. The creation included both animate and inanimate objects in the form of small particles in a graded way, so as to keep them at a distance of far and near of the center. Among the animate objects, man is supposed to be the crown of creation for the reason that he had that divine force in the form of thought, maybe in the active or inactive form. The power which was responsible for the primary star while creation is much in proportion in man in the form of thought. The same creative power in man started to create his own tiny world in the opposite direction of that of God's creation, and created inner grossness. Therefore, a proper orientation of the activity of thought is the only way to regain that original condition. Since the man has lost control over the activities of the thought power, help of one who has gained that, has mastery over that, is absolutely necessary for one desirous of reaching the goal. At this point of time, sadhak's receptivity increases with his love and devotion towards Master, and Master's transmission power also helps in yielding very good results, and sadhak's practice becomes integration of spirit and matter, subjugates the material centers to spiritual ones, and lastly makes the spirit soar high in the realm of its infinite existence. This is possible only when man's tiny creation is dissolved from the force of the power of thought is taken away from it by Master's transmission power. This is called the individual pralaya or dissolution of the self. What remains after it? Only that which is the original. Now the trouble. We know very well that the divine help will come only for the willing ones in the form of transmission, provided receptivity is there. Man, in fact, is very conscious of his incapacity, imperfectness, and whatnot at every step, and clings always to this type of thinking and becomes miserable because of his inability to fulfill his desires. Instead of going deep to apprehend the basic causes of his desires, he goes on adding more and more obstructions for his inner divinity to come out. At this point of time, he should take an auto-suggestion deep into his heart to regain his original state under the guidance of a capable master. Then all other desires will fade out, and his pursuit would be fruitful to realize the divinity. When this happens, the nature of the struggle of man can be called a healthy one, and this condition further takes him to the kingdom of God, and really speaking, it is his real home. Thank you.